Cave.
And welcome back to another edition of the Podmen. I'm Brad.
I'm Brian.
I'm Podman Ron.
And we're back together again, and happy 2022, guys. I mean, this is it. The year of the Podmen is finally upon us.
The year of the Podman.
Finally. I mean,
what defines the year of the Podman?
I don't know. Every year, Podman Ron gives us a big pep talk about how this year we're really going to make a breakthrough.
Oh, that's true.
This is it. Now, you know, I saw on the internet
it must be true.
Joanna and Chip Gaines got their own network.
Yeah, they turned DIY into the Magnolia Network.
The Magnolia Network. So therefore, I think we should do our own podcast network.
Yeah, I think. I mean, we did talk about Brian, having a wrestling podcast.
Yeah,
I mean, we can't get the podcast off, but maybe we can get a network off.
I can get a retro gaming podcast going.
Retro gaming. We've got the Boschcast.
The Boschcast.
We've got
ready to go, man.
Cooking with Brian, and he needs to find him a co-host there.
Yeah.
And then maybe at some point a PMR rant or something like that podcast.
Well, and we could have the redundant Flashcast. So since we spend 90 minutes covering the 60-minute episode of Flash that aired that week.
I like that. We're a couple of seasons behind on that. So.
Yeah, several seasons. Yeah, I mean, remember that was back in the early days though of the Podmen. I mean, we would sit and talk about fucking Flash 4 in 90 minutes.
God,
and
love
Alex
that
would
shit.
Alex would just drool all over it, right? Good
Now
times.
we can barely watch it. Now CW's about to get sold, is what I heard.
Yeah, CW's supposed to be getting sold. Well, it was, what's interesting is it was originally UPN Network, which was CBS.
Right.
And then it was the WB, and then they combined into one super channel. It was a joint venture between CBS and Warner Brothers, and I guess now Warner's trying to sell it all just to CBS and get out of it.
Just get out of the CW business.
But what I read in that article was that the CW has never been self-sufficient. It's never paid for itself. They don't make enough marketing and advertising dollars to keep the channel justified, other than the royalties to other countries and then the stuff they do with Netflix royalties. But then they ended that in 2019 trying to bolster what was going to be on HBO Max. So
it's a crazy, wicked window world we play in nowadays.
So not only is it going to be the channel's gone, all that DC content's going to be gone too. So it's, what the hell are they going to put on that network? So
said earlier.
What's that?
Podman Ron reverses the mute button. He mutes it when he's talking and unmutes it when he's coughing.
Yeah.
Still happening. Star Trek. It's CBS. Yeah, I think Brian said that earlier today.
Yeah, I did. But yeah, how many nights a week can you have Star Trek on?
How many fucking series they got nowadays?
They've got about 3 or 4 series going on. I mean,
pull out all the old stuff and have do it in chronological order or something like that. Starting at 4:00 in the afternoon, you'd play the original series and then Next Gen and Deep Space and Voyager, and that takes care of everything. It's like super prime time.
I feel like the Wayans brothers could really make a comeback.
Oh, in living color.
Yeah, well, not just in living color. I mean, how many Wayans TV shows were there at one time?
That's true. They were the kings of Hollywood.
Are you talking about Homies in Space?
Yeah, Homies in Space.
Homies in Space. There was, what was the one with, the dad? I love the dad. From Friday.
Oh.
Shit. Anyway. Oh, they could do Major Payne the series.
Ooh.
That would be excellent.
I love that movie.
Everybody, you need to save that. Somebody needs to bring that up in the retro review.
Yes.
But before we get to there, since we've already gotten into the news, let's talk about more news. All right, elsewhere in the news, I don't know if there's a whole lot of stuff happening right now. I mean, there's, I guess in the movie news, it came out that Marvel made up 30% of the box office total for last year.
For the year.
Only 30%. That's
That
low,
you know
in my
is
opinion.
well,
I mean,
Eternals. So
Yeah.
if it would have been a better movie and Shang-Chi, I know. Let's not get into that. But if you would have had something other than Shang-Chi and Eternals, maybe you'd be up to 70%.
well, considering what the box office made this year, that is still surprisingly low for Marvel. I mean, what else was out there this year? Ghostbusters.
007 did really well.
Yeah.
I think. Does Marvel count? Did they count Spider-Man as Marvel?
I'm sure they
maybe
did.
not. Yeah, because it's like
Because it's
12 billion
Sony.
or something.
You know what? That's a good point. They may not have. I don't know.
So, yeah.
Has
it
anyone
seems a little low.
Has anyone seen Spider-Man again?
No, I want to. I'd
Okay.
love to.
All right.
But I will say this as I guess we could say it for retro review, but yeah, I will save it for retro review.
Okay.
All right.
That's a suspense right there.
I'll type it up.
Speaking of Eternals, did you see the article I posted? I sent you guys.
Yeah, maybe like an alternate ending or the original ending, maybe.
Yeah, Chloe Zhao. The original ending she had was even more bleak. So that more bleak than Icarus, committing suicide and murdering half the team. So, but it was. They get reset. All of them get their memories wiped and reset, and they're heading off to another planet to start the whole cycle over again. So basically, they're just slaves. So,
Well, basically, also that way they can explain that we don't have to just ever show them in the Marvel universe.
We don't have to see
we
these
don't ever
films
show them again.
They're gone.
And and they just write them off. That was it. They're done. Goodbye.
Yeah.
So, but
Probably wouldn't have been a bad plan. I think they're regretting not doing that.
What did he give Eternals?
I liked it. I didn't mind it. I'm just saying.
It wasn't a 7 if that's what you're getting.
No, no.
It wasn't a 7 out of 5. I realize. What else can be?
Nothing.
I can't wait for Fast 9. Or are we at Fast 10 now?
It may be a 10
We're at
out of
Fast
5.
10. Fast 10, which again
Speaking of-
should be named Fast 10 Your Seatbelts.
Yeah, if they are definitely missing out if they don't use that.
If they don't name this movie Fast 10 Your Seatbelts,
Pod kid there.
they're out of their fucking mind.
We should, as the Podman on Instagram, you should put that recommendation, Brian, to Ben
Out
Diesel.
to Vin Diesel. Yeah, sorry you can't get The
Vinny.
Rock. Sorry you pissed off The Rock, but maybe this would help.
Maybe this will help you out.
Fast 10 Your Seatbelts.
This is just for you.
Just for you. We had some more news about the DC Extended Universe, which has got fanboys in an uproar.
Oh my goodness, what are they mad about now?
Oh, yeah, I know what they're mad about.
So people are saying, TMZ reported that someone had seen an early draft of the script for the Flash movie, and Flash will effectively completely erase the Snyderverse from existence. And we will now where it's going to head into a Justice League movie where you'll have the Flash,
Okay.
you'll have Supergirl taking the Superman role,
right.
Batgirl, which will be the Batgirl from the HBO Max series,
Okay.
as the Batman role, and then you're going to have Shazam.
Jesus Christ.
That sounds like the
Shazam
Justice
gonna
League
be a
from the
thing?
'90s or something. This does not
Yeah.
sound like a good team up.
So I wouldn't mind having Supergirl and Batgirl as like a world's finest. I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like do a team up, whether it's a TV show or movie or whatever. But yeah, people are pissed that they're potentially right because they had just Henry Cavill had just kind of warmed up to saying, hey, he'd come back. He'd like to finish it out. You had Guy Ritchie. Was it Guy Ritchie?
At one point, he was associated with.
Somebody-
Matthew Vaughn.
Matthew Vaughn. Matthew Vaughn had said he wanted to come back and do like a more sci-fi, lighter Superman, kind of like a All-Star Superman sort of a movie, which would be kick-ass.
That would be kick-ass.
And I mean, the expectation is that we're getting another Batman, but it wouldn't be anything to do with the Justice League. At that point, it's completely divergent from the Justice League. They also said that Michael Keaton is scheduled to come back in Batgirl, and so there's rumors that they're gonna. steal some of the Batman Beyond stuff.
Okay.
But apply it to Batgirl.
I'd be fine with that. That's fine.
Yeah, people are pissed.
People are pissed. Again, this is the problem
which I don't understand why they don't just do the Batman Beyond. I mean, it's just makes no sense to me. Why don't you just do
Batman Beyond would be so kick-ass.
Yeah. I mean, everybody wants it. It's popular. I mean, why not do it? I mean, DC, I don't know who runs that fucking Warner Brothers, but goddamn, they don't know what the fuck they're doing over there.
Who runs this shit?
Who runs this shit?
Can I speak to your manager?
I mean,
PMR turns into a Karen.
It's like they sit down.
Warner Brothers, I'd like to speak to your manager.
I want to speak to him now!
I need a Warner Brother on the phone now.
Give me one of the Warner Brothers. I'm not going to leave.
I mean, you got to think there's probably about 4 or 5 guys that sit in a room, and does any of them ever read any of this shit? I mean, do they not know what people? I mean, they're making these movies for people to go see.
Right.
Do they not realize that? Oh, let's do something completely fucked up and different that no one will see it and won't catch any type of ground, and we won't be able to build on it. You know, that's what they've been doing for the past 10 years.
Well, shouldn't Jeff Johns be able to? I mean,
you would think,
right? Because I mean,
you know what? I think Jeff Johns. I think his problem is he's not Hollywood. He's from comic book world. So I think he goes into these meetings and he gets overwhelmed. He's too much of a pussy.
Give me a bottle of water, Jeff Johns.
He's too much of a pussy to stand up and say, no, that's not how we fucking did it.
Jeff Johns, you're going to be the timekeeper for this meeting. That's all you're going to do is let us know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what
take the minutes.
Does.
You take the minutes.
What the fuck else he does? I mean, in the comic books, he's always been good about.
Everybody loved him, but now everybody hates him. Yeah.
Well, because you don't know what the fuck he's doing. I think they just tell him, go get our water, Jeff, or fucking clean the toilet. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. We'll put your name on it. Here's a check.
Okay, well, I guess I can agree with
PMR
that.
is in rare form tonight, folks.
But now, and Brian, did you read this, or did you post this about that isn't Jim Lee supposed to take a larger role as, I know he's kind of like, quote unquote,
worthless.
Everybody hates Jim Lee now, too?
Well, I don't even know why Jim Lee is in the position he's in. He never fucking worked in D.C. up until when did he work in D.C.? He worked in D.C. when
he started that PMR rant early.
I know,
like the mid 2000s with the Batman run he did, and that was it. He never was a D.C. person. He was a Marvel person, and then all of a sudden, they make him head of D.C. and he really hasn't done anything except fuck up D.C. more and more.
PMR caught a little peek into the COVID death looming over every world, and now he's just got to get this stuff off his chest as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I think we had to do that reboot at the beginning of the episode, but we apologize at the beginning of the episode, so it's probably now. The listener may need to quarantine for 2 weeks after this episode because PMR is tested positive for COVID.
And positive for just pure anger.
Yeah, just pure hate.
I just don't get it. I don't get
it. Keep it going,
DC
Brian.
bought Wildstorm in 1998.
I know how it all came about.
Don't tell me what they bought.
I know what they
Motherfucker.
did. I don't understand why the fuck he's in charge.
Why are you walking around in circles, Podman?
He's so mad. He's walking.
He's got so much nervous energy.
I'm pacing.
The Nerdatorium is like 12 by 12. Square.
He's doing lap after lap.
He's going to walk a hole in that carpet.
I hope you got your Fitbit on because you can get some points right now.
Okay, I'm going to sit down.
Thank you.
Myself out.
Jesus.
So back to what got us on before this rant. Ezra Miller even has come out and said, well, nothing can erase the Snyderverse and the contributions Zack Snyder's made. Well, he didn't say they're not going to really erase that continuity.
Right.
He just said, well, we're not going to pull the movies off the market, essentially.
My only thing I'm upset about the Flash movie erasing the Snyderverse is it cannot erase the Snyderverse from my memory.
The Snyderverse was fantastic, and you two are fools. That's all I got.
That's the only thing I regret.
You're two fools. You don't
They
know.
can do that, and that would be a plus.
You want to get a what is it? The eternal sunshine of a spotless mind. You want him to come and wipe your memory entirely
Just wipe
of
your
it.
memory of it.
Just the Snyderverse.
I still give Man of Steel a 7 out of 5. So
Jesus Christ.
7 out of 5.
all right, what else, Brian?
It checks out. I'm trying to think.
Sorry.
What else did I post? Talk so much to yourselves. Oh, Morbius has been delayed from January to April,
Yeah.
which means it's now been postponed more times than the New Mutants.
Which they just finally gave up on at some point, right?
They should just give up. Yeah, and so PMR, you had a theory as to what they're doing.
Nope.
In your
It's
NyQuil haze,
Favorite NyQuil haze I may have. What was
you
it?
said that you thought they were going to go and do something. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I thought, and it came to me in a dream, that everybody was so enamored with Andrew Garfield in this last Spider-Man movie that everybody's wanting to see a third Spider-Man movie
Right.
starring Andrew Garfield.
Yeah,
So
of
I
course.
thought maybe they're going to go back in and reshoot some scenes and have a stinger at the end of this movie with Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man.
That would be great.
So,
And along those lines, Tobey Maguire today has said that he would like to come back as Spider-Man as well in some way, shape, or form.
Everybody needs a paycheck.
everybody wants a paycheck.
It ain't just Jeff
Everybody's
Johns wanting a paycheck and doing whatever. These two fools are going to do the same thing.
I've been wanting to suck on that Marvel teat a little bit longer. I mean,
Yeah.
come on. Man. Why
Toby
not?
ain't got no problem with it.
And you know what? I think, was it you, Brian, that said, I think that's the best way to bring him back. is
Spider-Girl.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely, man.
Do Mayday
I mean,
Parker.
Yes.
Yeah, I like the more I think about it, that's awesome, and I think you've got the Craven thing teed up. You've already cast him. Do Andrew Garfield and do Craven's Last Hunt, and make it a quasi Craven launch, and then the final, the final Andrew Garfield movie.
I mean, why would Sony not do this? Sony's been trying to build a spider universe for like 10 years now. Here is their chance, and
No.
Marvel teed it up for them perfectly, so they could do all these damn.
They got
Spider-Man.
Silver Sable and Black Cat in pre-prod, so that's
Yeah.
they want to focus their
Along with
attention on
those.
a Black Cat movie, Silver Sable.
Yeah, there you go.
And then final bit of news, and this is going to be a letdown. This is going to hurt, PMR. This one's going to hurt.
Wow.
But they've officially announced, or James Gunn has officially come out and said that 2 Marvel favorites cannot appear in the Guardians of the Galaxy.
I saw that.
Do you know who?
I do, and they're both 2 of my favorites.
Wow.
One being Rom the Space Knight, which I loved Rom the Space Knight back in the 70s and 80s. And the second one is Bug from Micronauts, which is fucking awesome character, too.
Because they're both owned by Hasbro.
Yep.
Son of a bitch.
Fucking Hasbro needs to come off of that shit.
I'm sorry. Bug is owned
I was
by
about to say-
Mattel, I think.
Right,
Bug
because
is
he wasn't
Mattel,
originally. Bug was created for the comic book, right?
Right.
He wasn't a.
Yeah, Bug.
They never made a Bug figure in the Micronaut,
Right.
unfortunately.
I wanted him
Bug
to.
is Mattel, and then Rom is Hasbro. So,
Bug
but
was
yeah,
always a fucking cool ass character, and Rom too, man. They really did the toy looks ridiculous, but the comic book is really cool.
Was the comic book good? I don't remember the comic book at all.
Oh yeah, man. The Diaraths and stuff, man. That was a great book back in the.
Back in the
It hit its
80s?
stride back in the 80s. I think it premiered in like 79,
Okay.
and it lasted for like 60 issues.
and it was kind of like not Guardians. It was kind of like Green Lantern, right? Like they were
Yeah, they're all space.
Marvel space cops. Yeah.
I didn't remember what it was.
And they were trying
I like
to create,
Micronauts.
prevent the they were called the Diaraths, which they were like body snatchers. They could come in and snatch your body and take on that person's look. And but the way they did it, they would suck the living force out of that person. It was great.
You had me at
Now
sucked.
we know why he loved it. They would suck the living force out of a
Just
person.
go ahead and do it.
Just
Man, that was a great
Like-
book, though. But yeah, that's disappointing. Very disappointing. Maybe Hasbro will I mean, what the fuck is Hasbro doing with Rom?
They just sitting on their asses.
Well, now that you mention it, the Hasbro tried to do their Avengers thing where they brought everything together under one tentpole. It was called Revolution. Was the comic, and so you found out that Joe Colton, G.I. Joe Colton, right, was actually they kind of scrolled him, right? He was an imposter, and I guess he was one of the Dire Wraths, right? And so it brought in Rom Space Knight, and the Dire Wraths also were an enemy of the Transformers. And then you had where G.I. Joe, because it was Joe Colton being impersonated, got pulled into it. And then Mask was almost like an offshoot of G.I. Joe. Like you had, what's his name? Max Mayhem, who's the leader of Venom in Mask, was like used to work for the G.I. Joe program, and he kind of splintered off, and that's when he created Mask. So you had this storyline where it tried to bring everything together all under one umbrella, and it just kind of landed flat. And since then, now they've rebooted G.I. Joe again. Mask is gone again. Rom's gone again, and Transformers has been rebooted again too. So they tried.
But you see what they should do. I mean, Hasbro, it's like, just go over to Marvel and say, hey, you know what? We read this article where James Gunn really likes Rom. We'll give you Rom if you'll let us produce the toys.
Well, Hasbro already makes the Marvel toys.
What the fuck? Just license out Rom. I mean,
Hasbro already makes the Marvel toys, so it's we'll let you put him in the Guardians movie because apparently James Gunn wants to put him in. Based off what he said, like that was a character that he would love to be able to add in,
which would be awesome, man.
And so Hasbro lets them license Rom. They get to just maybe you don't even make it part of the Marvel Legends. You do an offshoot line of Rom Space Knight. But hey, it's because he was just in, and then you could do the Rom Space Knight as a soft, pilot into a Rom Space Knight movie.
It would. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Who the fuck are running all this shit?
The guy from Warner Brothers, I think.
It must be.
He's fucking shit up left and right.
Now.
Jesus Christ.
Well.
I got one piece of good news.
Yeah.
That Brian didn't put in today. That I read that Justin Timberlake is being approached for a major Marvel role.
Ooh.
Two Gun Kid?
It makes sense.
Don't laugh at the Two Gun Kid. I like the Two Gun Kid.
I thought that was Chris Pine.
It's going to be Chris Pine. He would make a
sorry.
Two Gun Kid. No. The talk is it's possibly Dr. Doom.
Ooh.
Sure, why not? Get a pretty boy like that playing Dr. Doom.
Yeah.
Wow, that just really...
That went over like a mud.
Well, speaking about killing a podcast...
Well, it could be worse than that other idiot that they got played Doom. Hell, the last two idiots that played Doom.
Just talks over the segue. Yeah, you're right. That is better than the last two idiots that played Doom. What two idiots?
Julian McMahon.
Right.
God, that guy sucks.
But who else were
that guy. What else has he been? He looks like Corbin? Adam Driver, kind of.
Hello, dude.
From I forgot all about that. The new
Josh Trask.
Yeah.
Oh
wow, I forgot all about that.
That was terrible. Ugh.
Oh well. Well, you know what else is terrible is not making it to your 100th birthday.
Ouch.
2 weeks out. Yeah. Ron's favorite Golden Girl, Betty White, passed away just weeks before her 100th birthday.
As I was eating my nachos that day, I saw that came across.
You had two big surprises.
Cobra Kai dropped, and Betty White dropped too. Actually,
yeah. Oh.
He leapt up at Monterey's and said, "Have you all seen this?
What's going on in the world?
What's going on in the world?
I got COVID.
You have
Betty
COVID.
White's dead.
Betty White's dead.
Yeah. So I mean, Betty White was in. Was she ever in a Marvel or a superhero movie at all? I don't think she was. Was she?
No.
I don't think so, yeah.
Oh, well.
Just B. Arthur in that Christmas special, the Star Wars Christmas special.
B. Arthur. Now, that's talent. I love B. Arthur.
So she was your favorite Golden Girl.
Oh yeah, absolutely. B. Arthur was.
Yeah, mine was.
Not that scab Betty White.
Rue McClanahan.
Oh, Blanche.
The slutty Southerner.
That slutty Southerner.
Wow.
The slut.
Well, anyways, we're here to talk about Betty White. So,
Sorry.
yeah, she'll be missed. Everybody loved her, I guess.
Well, you know what? I just feel like no. We're gonna get hate mail if I say this.
Then don't say it.
Yeah.
Well, let me say.
It's very, very simple.
No.
Just worried we're gonna get.
No, I gotta get it out.
I'm worried we're gonna get a crotch shot here pretty soon.
I like Betty White.
Okay.
Really
But
I feel like everybody really just wanted to like Betty White because it was like the popular thing to do.
yeah, I think I agree with that.
You know, it was like she became like, I don't know, pop culture status where, you know, you had to like Betty White.
Yeah, kind of like the
What
Where
about
the Beef
Stan
Lady.
Lee?
Well,
That's kind of like Stan Lee.
Wow.
well,
that
that goes
hurts.
without saying.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
Stan Lee did something with his life. I mean, Betty White would just show up and be like, "Oh, I don't know," and then everybody would laugh and be like, "I love old people.
old people.
Octogenarians are so sweet." Yeah,
I mean, she was a cute old lady. I'll give her that. I mean,
she was
I
cute.
like-
Yeah.
Yeah, she was a cute lady.
All right. Well, let's move on. We have nothing good to say about Betty White.
Golly, I like Betty White. I don't know.
Who are you?
Or is it good? Anything good to say about anyone tonight?
No.
But where he's saving
But
it
you
all
know
for
what?
Cobra
Go
Kai.
ahead. Go ahead and what everybody's saying is to donate $5 for to some dog thing to
Okay.
Perfect.
that's what she liked.
So get $5 out of your wallet and Google some dog thing,
The human fun, the dog fun.
and just try to shove that dollar in your USB port.
It won't take it. I tried.
Well, all right.
I tried,
PMR
Betty White.
said.
I tried to do right by you, baby. You were so
No,
cute.
on her birthday, you were supposed to give like $5 in honor of the dogs. Or
Oh, okay. That's nice.
yeah.
That's nice.
So,
Anyway. All right.
so I wonder, just real quick, I wonder if they had like a huge party for her planned, and if so, I mean, we're like the caterer out money now. I mean, they like,
Somebody's going
Well, I
to
think they said they did, right?
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure they did.
Magazines were printed out, everything. Newspapers. Yeah.
It's kind of like, it reminds me of the George Burns thing, where George Burns suddenly like disappeared from the limelight,
completely.
and then like a week after it was supposed to be his 100th birthday, they announced that he had passed.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
I'm completely convinced he passed, but they wanted to get him over that hurdle. So
I'm surprised they didn't do her the same way.
Yeah. I mean, more than ever, America needs hope like that. But,
that's right.
oh, well.
Poor old Betty White. Now I'm feeling bad.
Podman Ron's coming all the way around.
Ron
He's going to
full
come
circle.
back to hate
Yep.
her pretty soon. All right,
Yeah.
well,
No.
Yeah, we better get off now before he does.
speaking of Betty White, let's just go to the boob tube. All right, in TV, we got two shows. One that I watched the first episode of, The Book of Boba Fett. Did you guys watch this?
One and two.
You've watched, but I haven't watched the second episode yet.
I haven't watched either.
Wow. Brian, what is wrong with you? How could you not be excited about Boba Fett?
I'll eventually watch it, I guess. I don't know. It just doesn't. I'm Star Wars'd out.
Wow. The Mandalorian just really sucked you out, huh?
Yep. Just
right.
like a death wraith
Yeah.
or whatever it is.
Death of
It sucked.
Wrath. Yeah, just sucked
Yeah.
the living out of you. But Podman Ron, you're the exact opposite. You're like, yeah, give me more Boba Fett here, right?
Well, I didn't say that. I said I watched it.
I watched it.
It's good. It's not nothing to like cream your pants over. I mean, it's
Not like Cobra Kai.
not like
All right. We don't have to spend any time on it.
No. I just want to. I can't describe this series. I mean, it's interesting. It kind of picks up where we left off with him in the Mandalorian, but then it also picks up how he escaped from the Sarlacc pit in
Yeah.
Return of the Jedi. And it kind of shows, it's kind of like it keeps doing flashbacks to
okay.
So you'll have him in modern or whatever time he is now as the new Jabba the Hutt,
right?
The gangster of the city. And you get about 10 or 15 minutes of that. And then all of a sudden he flashes back to when he was taken in by the Tusken Raiders and, learn to
love
be
again.
One of them. Yeah, pretty much. And show them how to do it. And that stuff's interesting. But honestly, like the last episode, the last 40 minutes didn't have hardly any dialogue whatsoever. I mean, It's just that kind of show.
Trying to be
kind of reminds me of the old Kung Fu show and The Mandalorian for that matter. It kind of reminds me of, but I mean, it's all right.
Okay.
But I'm kind of like Brian also. I mean, I think Star Wars is, I don't know. You guys probably like all the stuff more because y'all watched all the Clone Wars and stuff, but I never get into that. So I guess my Star Wars time is kind of...
Wow. All right. Maybe close the book on Star Wars with the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, it's weird.
I'll watch it, but...
Yeah, that's kind of... But honestly, that's kind of the way I felt for years. You guys know how much shit I collect, I've never been interested in collecting Star Wars. I collect Masters of the Universe, G.I. Joe, Transformers, DC, Marvel. I even picked up La Centurion's figures a while back. It doesn't take much to pique my interest and get me collecting something. I've never been interested in collecting Star Wars at any level at any time. I was into Star Wars when the first movie came out, and I had some of those figures. With the Luke where the lightsaber rolled up into his arm, and the Obi-Wan. Even after that, no compunction to buy it. Even as a kid. It was G.I. Joe, Transformers, that sort of stuff. I never cared about Star Wars even back then. I'll watch the movies and I can be entertained by the movies and stuff, but I don't know. I really don't get that fandom as much as other stuff.
All right.
So
yeah, well, the Star Wars stuff I collect is very small, and it's only the original figures from the 70s, and it's only because it just, I don't know, I can remember them when I was a kid, so it just has a good memory for me. So I like the first series, and that's it. I don't want any of the other stuff. Definitely don't want any of the new stuff. And that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, hey, Brian, maybe after the series is over, maybe we can all get on the same page with that and talk about this Boba Fett a little bit.
Maybe so. I did hear that as a callback to Community, or not Community, but Parks and Rec, that there was an episode of Parks and Rec, I think it was in season 4, where Patton Oswalt's character came and he did this filibuster in front of the city council.
That. Yeah.
And they said it's almost shot for shot exactly because he did this fan fiction about how Boba Fett survived, and he talked about it it went on for 3 minutes of the episode. And they said that it's almost shot for shot exactly how Boba Fett survived.
That's hilarious, man.
So, yeah.
Well, it's a good show. I'd recommend it. But 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
Can't stand it. No interest. 5 out of 5.
I would give it a 4 out of 5.
I don't get Star Wars. 5 out of 5.
Yeah, I watched the first episode and it was fine. Nothing wrong with it. But I think it'll do well. People love Mandalorian type folks, and people love Boba Fett. So what's not to love here?
Molly really, it's kind of slow pace, which is okay. But he constantly takes off his helmet,
right?
And that's one of the coolest things about Boba Fett is his helmet and his armor. And this motherfucker can't leave his helmet on.
Tamura, whatever his name is, he's got a pretty face, so he wants to show it.
That mug.
That mug. He wants to mug at the camera.
I think my favorite fan sort of speculation about all this is when in Empire Strikes Back, when Vader tells Boba Fett, he's and no disintegrations, and they kind of alluded to the fact that maybe Boba Fett's the one that killed Owen and Beru, Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru. because they were like they were charred remains. So like people put that together. It's been around for years, but like that's why Vader told them no disintegrations, because he burned Owen and Beru to a crisp.
He loves
and
to
he had a
blow things.
blowtorch.
He loves to blow things.
He does like to blow them up.
He loves blowing stuff.
All right, well, enough of this nonsense. The real reason we're meeting today, fellas, is because Cobra Kai is back.
Oh, yeah.
Cobra Kai and Miyagi-Do. So, season 4, right? Season 4? Is that right?
4.
Season 4 dropped while Padma and Ron was having his chips and salsa, worrying about Betty White and what was going to happen there. He found out it dropped, and Padma and Ron, you're a big fan of this. It picks up right after the previous season leaves off with kind of a combo of Eagle Fang and Miyagi-Do joining forces against Cobra Kai. So we got the longtime rivals of Johnny and Daniel-san. I almost forgot his name. And they have a little bit of clash of culture here. A clash of offense versus defense and way about teaching, and a lot of rock music. And you guys have mentioned the famous words that I guess the writers really love in this series: kick ass. A lot of ass kicking in this show, and they love to talk about kicking ass. Brian, have you watched all the episodes, Brian?
Yeah, I watched all the episodes. I didn't power through them in one day like BMR did. But yeah, we watched. I watched it over like 3 or 4 days. We watched all of it, and I gotta say, like, we've said TV shows are like male soap operas. Like, this is 1000% a male soap opera. All the hokiness and melodrama and side eye and campy dialogue. It is the epitome. It is Days of Our Lives for men, is what this show is.
It is,
and I love it.
And it reflects real life, actually.
It reflects real life.
It reflects real life.
Well,
okay.
Who hasn't had a karate?
Several
beef war.
Several karate beef wars. I mean, I've said that. So I've watched all the episodes as well, and it's almost like they took a CW show rather, that would be 26 episodes, and they compress it into 8 or 10 episodes. So within one episode, you get a guy, dating a girl, then he dumps her, then he dates another girl, then he dumps her, and then he's back with the original girl, and she hates him or what. So you have this flip-flop of, whose team is who on and all this kind of stuff, really compressed. And so people flip-flop back and forth between Miyagi-Do and Eagle Fang and Cobra Kai.
Sometimes you forget. Sometimes you're like,
right, wasn't he a good guy?
You went, oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's right. That guy used to date her. And wait a minute, he used to be on that team.
A little ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
Well, so... to Brad's point, I was sitting there like, because everybody. It was like they played fruit basket turnover. Robbie left Miyagi-Do, now he's Cobra Kai. Tori stayed Cobra Kai, but then like Hawk, I felt like Miguel went Eagle Fang, and I feel like because Daniel had nobody like other than
his daughter,
what's his face, his daughter. It was like, well, what do we do with Hawk? And so Hawk, who was the biggest dick in the first 3 seasons, is now the main fighter for Miyagi-Do.
Right.
So it was like I feel like they're in a room like trying to figure out, okay, who do we put where? So everybody's got to
just like throwing darts at it,
like fantasy football. It's like they're doing fantasy football, figuring out who should be on which team.
So, Podman Ron, help us keep track of the teams, okay? First of all, so we got Miyagi-Do.
Well, you start out with Cobra Kai.
Okay. Start at Cobra Kai.
I'll start out with Cobra Kai.
All right.
Johnny come back. He decided to start out Cobra Kai. Well, Danielson said no. He can't have Cobra Kai come back.
Not in my city.
Not in my city. So he starts Miyagi-Do. Miyagi-Do. Sorry.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
He starts that. So everything's good, but then John Kreese comes back.
Okay.
And he comes back to Cobra Kai.
And John Kreese was the head of Cobra Kai in the movies.
In the movies, he was the head of Cobra Kai in the 80s.
Okay.
So he comes back. He teams up with Johnny Lawrence. But Johnny Lawrence just doesn't like John Kreese's methods.
Weird.
Well, he tried to kill Johnny Lawrence in the parking lot after the All Valley. So he's kind of got a beef.
Well, but he'd gotten over that. You know, he'd accepted John Kreese to come back. Yeah,
okay, yeah, all right.
They worked together.
Yeah.
So, but then by the end of the season, he had given up Cobra Kai.
Yep.
So he decided to go on his own, and he started Eagle Fang Karate. So then you had Eagle Fang Karate. And
right.
You had Cobra Kai Karate, led by John Kreese. You had Eagle Fang, ran by Johnny Lawrence, and you had Miyagi-Do, ran by Daniel. So now, Miyagi-Do and Eagle Fang tried to join forces together in this season, but there's just one was a little bit too country and one was a little bit too rock and roll.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. And they just couldn't see eye to eye, so they split back up.
And
so, I think that's about it.
Well, no, we had that kind of conflict. There was the original conflict between Daniel and Johnny, what's his face, Cobra Kai Johnny
Lawrence. Yeah.
And then Kreese comes in, and we had conflict with Kreese and both of those two characters. And so then, like you said, Podman, we have three houses now. And then Kreese brings in another guy.
Terry Silver.
So, and who is Terry Silver? Remind the audience who Terry Silver is.
So Karate Kid 3 was the All Valley. They wanted Daniel to come back and compete and defend his title at the All Valley. And he didn't want to. He didn't have a reason to, that sort of thing. And so because Kreese had been shamed, at the tournament, he was determined that he was going to get Daniel in this tournament and have him and have Cobra Kai beat the shit out of him.
Oh, okay.
Well, Cobra Kai had lost all of their students because of what happened at the All Valley. So Kreese calls his Vietnam buddy, Terry Silver, who's rich. Terry Silver brings in a ringer, which is Mike Barnes. And Mike Barnes...
People.
Remember that name?
Okay, interesting.
And so Mike Barnes comes in, kind of befriends Daniel.
Mike Barnes does not.
Oh, that's right. He attacks Daniel. He starts bullying Daniel. Daniel says that he needs to train more. He wants to join the All Valley. Miyagi says absolutely not. So Daniel actually joins Cobra Kai.
What?
And gets trained, but Kreese is not there. Kreese
is dead.
They think Kreese is dead. Terry Silver is the one training Daniel and making him really get super aggressive and like basically break everything he learned from Miyagi. And then you find out, shock, John Kreese is still alive. Daniel, we're kicking you out of Cobra Kai, and you got to fight Mike Barnes. He's actually Cobra Kai all along.
Barnes was actually working with Terry Silver.
Yeah, Terry Silver paid Mike Barnes to do the All Valley because Mike Barnes was on Black Belt magazine or something. He was like a well-known martial artist in the country.
Ringer.
Bad boy.
He was a ringer.
What the magazine said.
He was a bad boy of karate?
Bad boy karate is what the
That's
magazine
right.
said.
Oh, wow.
Bad boy karate.
Fuck with that guy.
I'll tell you, the shit with Terry Silver this season was nuts. He was all over the place.
He really was. Let's hit on Terry Silver.
Well, can we start with one thing? My favorite part.
I know what you're gonna say.
My favorite part of the whole season was when Terry Silver tried to explain why he acted so batshit crazy in the 80s, and it was because he was coked up. He was a coke fiend in the 80s. He says this. He was a coke fiend in the 80s, and that's why he acted like a complete and utter lunatic in Karate Kid 3.
Well, he said something to the effect that whole line was fantastic. I was crying laughing because he said something like, I was all coked up. He goes, why else would I try to pick a fight with a high school student?
It was all coked up.
It was great.
he said it was the 80s. I was coked out of my mind. Why else would I pick a fight with a high school kid? Yeah.
That was the best line. But you're right. I was really excited to see Terry Silver come back. And honest to God, it didn't seem – it was kind of a letdown there for the first, I don't know, most of the whole season. He was just
he lost his ever-loving shit.
Right. Then he went totally 180.
I think he's back on the coke. That's what this is.
I think so.
He's back on the slopes.
He went from like mild-mannered, old, Mike Nesbitt looking guy, just to all of a sudden he put that hair in a ponytail and got that evil grin on his face. And
he's back at it.
Shit again.
Yeah, when the ponytail came back, that was him donning the Green Goblin mask.
Yeah,
that was bad.
Yeah,
that really was. But,
and he went.
I would have liked to have seen that earlier in the episode.
Well, he went through a few. He went through a few his character arc went through a few transformations as well, right? From kind of wimpy guy to really wimpy to he turned his back on Kreese, right, or whatever.
Yeah, lunatic.
To lunatic.
Because he was the one that was saying, nobody touch it, don't touch any Miyagi-Do or Eagle Fang. We'll settle it at the tournament. He went from like this. Well, this guy makes a lot of sense. To Kreese is like, what the fuck is wrong with him?
Right.
When Kreese thinks you're nuts, you're nuts.
Something's wrong.
Kreese staged his own death twice.
He should have done it one more time.
Kreese fakes his death to get back at a high schooler.
And then did it again to escape creditors.
He is not a good person, this Kreese fellow. I don't think he should follow him whatsoever. So let's talk about some of the fights. I mean, there was, the best fight from last season was when the Cobra Kai gang did a house invasion on and just tore the fuck out of Danielson's house. And a great fight ensued there. We didn't have that. And then was the second season where we had the mall fight where Miguel fell down
broke his back.
Nobody is arrested. All these people were on probation.
None of these. No. So the fights were a little bit disappointing, I thought. We did have a kind of a prom fight, I guess, but still not at those levels of the mall fight or the house invasion.
I kind of like the prom fight.
Well, I was going to say I liked the prom fight. It was whatever. The ones I like. The second best part of the season, the second funniest part of the season, is the whole build up to Daniel versus Johnny 2.
That was bad. So Daniel and Johnny get into it. They can't settle their differences, so they decide to have a backyard
which karate's
fight.
Better?
Which karate style?
Is Eagle Fang aggressive better or defense?
Right, and so they have a backyard brawl.
They decide to have a fight, and Johnny posts it on Twitter.
Right.
It was like hash brown kick ass.
Right. There needs to be a drinking game as far as how many times somebody says kick ass. Because they say it a lot, at least in this season.
And so then they get into the fight, and it's 1-1, and then it's 2-2. And then they both do an upwards kick and knock each other out at the exact same time.
Right.
Well, so it's still deadlocked.
It's still deadlocked. That rivalry is not going to end yet.
So it can't end it yet. And then so that was I enjoyed that fight just from the comedy standpoint of it. But the fight I really liked was Eli and Robbie in the tournament. I think it was
they didn't have shirts on.
Well, there was a reason for that. But because they kept blocking. It was like blocked. So I kind of liked that it got to the end where it was like Eli won, didn't really win because Robbie got distracted or whatever. But I didn't see the fight going down that way. That was an interesting way to present the fight because it was like there was a bunch of false finishes to the fight.
Right.
So, but you know why Robbie lost the gi, right?
Because he has a rockin' bod?
Well, and because he's not really he's not committed to anybody.
Yeah.
He's Cobra Kai now, but he's also like a student of Miyagi, and he's Johnny's son. So he's like a samurai. He's like a warrior without a master.
Yeah. And now at the end of this, he goes missing pretty much, right? Is that what happened?
No,
Miguel does, yeah. But
I must say, Miguel looked like he ate too many cheeseburgers over the summer break.
Beefing up for the Blue Beetle role, I think.
He got a little chubby there.
I wanted the note that his mom gave Johnny to say, "I left to go star in Blue Beetle. I'll be back.
I'll be back mid-season.
Next season,
right?
Season 6."
Because that thing grew, right? Originally, it was supposed to be Blue Beetle was going to be a HBO movie, and now they've said no, it's going to release in theaters, so it's getting a much bigger.
It'll
production.
change back to he'll have a special guest appearance in Peacemaker, probably.
That's true.
My favorite scene, talking about favorite scenes, and I was afraid you guys were going to spoil it for me, and now I can't think of the fucking song, but the training montage. And Johnny running along the beach, just like in Rocky 3, right? Or Rocky 4. Yeah, no, Rocky 4. Yeah. And they played the same song, too. Didn't they? It wasn't
Heart.
Broken Heart, yeah.
Heart by Survivor.
Yeah, they played that. That was the same song that was from one of the Rockies, Rocky 4, right?
Rocky 4.
Right.
Rocky 4, when he fights.
So when he's kicking over mailboxes and
right.
he goes out to the ocean and starts punching the waves.
I mean, that was my favorite part. That again, not taking any of this too seriously, but it's like they were thinking. It's almost they had to have thought, oh yeah, let's recreate part of the scenes of Rocky where Rocky and Creed are running along the beach and all that kind of stuff, training, and then Johnny starts punching waves, and then he beats up a guy on a scooter. I mean, just stupid shit. I mean,
that's
really.
Great. You gotta say that's great though. But I will say that
and that was all the lead up to Johnny Daniel too.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Not that I say this show is jump the shark, but if it ever just says
he punched that shark.
Point the jump the shark would be Carrie Underwood singing.
Oh, that was horrible. Yeah,
that was like. This is like a local karate tournament.
No, it's the All Valley.
They bring in Carrie Underwood to sing.
Yeah.
A 30-year-old song.
I fast forwarded through that part.
Now, let me ask you this: why didn't? And I'm sure they could have got him if they wanted him. They should have brought in Steve Perry from Journey
to recreate an old song.
Yeah, some montage song from Journey in the 80s.
About the guy who's saying, "You're the best." That's like Joe Esposito.
Yeah.
They could brought in Joe Esposito. I know he ain't doing nothing. He's probably waiting for that phone call.
Yeah, he and Nicholas Hammond from the Spider-Man TV show was hoping to get
or Stan Bush.
Stan Bush, yeah.
You got the touch.
Dun, dun. So let's talk a little bit about some more character development here. Tori and Daniel's wife. So Tori, the bad girl from Cobra Kai, who may be softening up. She may have found a little bit of a mother figure in Daniel's wife. So at some point, is she going to open up a dojo? I mean, it's like, why not, right? And she's going to recruit her. And Daniel's son. Daniel's son got a little bit of a role.
Yeah, so that was going to mention that. They were basically restocking, right?
They're completely, yeah.
They're restocking. But back to Tori and Amanda is her name, Amanda LaRusso. It's interesting because they've said that that the house, the LaRusso's house is in Atlanta that they filmed from, that it sold, and so I kept waiting for them to say, oh, I don't feel safe in this house anymore. We got to move. We got to move. Which never happened. It'll be interesting to see if they come back season 5 and go, oh, we had to move.
Right.
We had to move. We still didn't feel safe. Well, you kind of made up with Tori, but okay. Yeah. So you had that, but then you've got the whole storyline with Kenny. And
karate. He learned karate like in 2 months.
The little kid?
He's like beating the shit out of everybody now.
And then just to, again, maybe these could be rules for karate all-star, all-valley tournaments. I'm not sure, Brian. But would you normally have a dojo versus the same dojo like that, where they had the little kid versus, what's his face, Johnny's kid?
Yeah, I feel like, didn't that happen in the first movie, though?
It did. Yeah.
Okay, maybe that's a thing.
Because
I guess it's a thing.
It's a ranking for your individual, to be the top.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which I must say, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, plot device. Now, the All Valley happens to have a male champion and a female champion.
Well, that was the other great scene, was the city council scene.
The city council,
where they were debating that.
Yeah.
Just so stupid.
There's like hand wringing and sweating, and there's like a whole montage of them figuring out what to do with the All Valley.
Right.
But it's funny. I mean, I guess that's clever, the writers, because as stupid as that is, just to throw in a new rule, they actually showed it and made fun of it.
Right.
Well, they made basically what I got out of it was that whole karate council meeting was them in the writers' room trying to figure out how to up the stakes for this season.
Yeah, that was like real time stuff that happened in the writing room.
It was like they just they threw in some of their own dialogue from the writers' room.
Well, next time, just like Karate Kid 2, it's not fighting for a tournament; it's fighting for your life. So I think it's coming up on
stakes
season
are going to be
5.
higher.
Yeah, because Miguel, or whatever the fuck his name is, is going down to Mexico and to meet his drug lord of a father.
Oh, okay. So you think
that sounds like Sato, right? When Miyagi had to go back to Okinawa and Sato and Chosen.
Yep.
Wow.
And then we've got Chosen at the end of this episode.
Okay, so tell us.
Spoiler.
Yeah, big spoiler, everybody. So we'll recap, first of all, Podman Run, recap the tournament for us. That, so we had the 3 dojos fighting here, and the winner would be the only, and I guess this was kind of like a gentleman's agreement, right? That the winner, that the 2 losers would have to close down.
Like who would really do that?
Right. But all 3 dojos agreed that the 2 losers would have to close their doors, right? So there was a lot at stake here, actually. But Podman Ron, give us the lowdown of what happened at the end of the tournament. Who won the All Valley?
Well, it's a point system, so it's based on, because this is what we were just talking about before. The All Valley Council came up with a new rules and new.
They had a skills competition.
A
with weapons and feats and stuff like that.
Right.
Woman's competition and a men's competition. And whoever won, all these points totaled up, you would have the highest dojo winner. Okay. Well, as Brian said earlier, Hawk took home the championship for the males.
That's great.
For Miyagi-Do. I'm not really sure who took on the skill for the skills one. Yeah, but whoever it was Tori who won for Cobra Kai, and they had the most points, so they won the tournament.
And of course, Tori went up against Daniel's daughter, right? Because she was basically pretty much the only one.
During the tournament, the referee keeps calling questionable, not calling questionable things. Like at one point, Sam punches Tori before Tori jumps out of bounds, but the referee said no, that punch was she had stepped out of bounds before when you punched.
Huh.
They said something. They did a good job of trying to make it sound like it's overlooked, and then later on something else happened. I can't remember.
So they wanted a point deducted from one of the fights because it was a blow to the face, I think.
They didn't deduct a point. So
bit slapped.
So Tori ends up winning. Well, later on, Tori walks back in after to go get some of her stuff, and she notices that Terry Silver is paying the referee off.
Oh. Wow. A little corruption in the All Valley. That's horrible.
So that's going to be... when I saw that, I'm like, okay, well, she'll go and she'll tell Johnny, or she'll tell
the wife,
Amanda, the wife, that it was rigged or whatever, and she'll have like that guilt, and she'll come clean, and that'll be the reason why Johnny and Daniel once again reopen their dojos. Until we got to the epilogue with Daniel, right? And so the epilogue with Daniel is Daniel saying, he's like, you think he's talking to Johnny the whole time, because the whole season's been about Miyagi-Do's about defense, Eagle Fang's about offense and balance, right? There should be balance in the discipline, right? And so he's talking to somebody this whole time at the epilogue, and he's like, I was wrong, Miyagi-Do's not just about defense, all this kind of stuff. And he goes, will you help me? He goes, and he goes, I can't, basically he's saying he's going to renege on the deal with Kreese, that he's going to keep doing Miyagi-Do. And he's like, well, will you help me train my students? And then it pans over and it's Chosen.
Ooh. From
Karate Kid Part 2.
Wow.
Who we saw last season briefly, right?
Well, he was in like a whole episode or two. He taught Daniel last season the
touch
offense,
of death or whatever. Yeah.
Miyagi-Do offense, because Mr. Miyagi only taught defense, but Chosen said, you never learned Miyagi-Do.
Yes.
He had the scrolls.
And he had
the
scrolls.
Miyagi scrolls. Wow.
But you know what? For a guy who, speaking of Daniel, for a guy whose whole karate was based on balance, during that whole competition, that whole fight with Sam and Tori, it was like, go ahead and use offense. I guess you should.
Right.
I'm like, that's like, should that not be a given that you should use offense?
Shouldn't you try to win?
Yeah. Should you not use them both? I mean,
well, Daniel will learn eventually when he's like 60 something. So that's where it ends up with Miguel going to find his drug lord dad in Mexico. Johnny, by the way, is officially dating Miguel's mother, and that's out in the open now, and they love one another, and that's all good.
And he said he's going to go find Miguel.
Right.
So what you're going to have is next season's going to be Johnny's on this whole thing trying to find Miguel, and I guess he'll take Robbie with him. So it's going to be like Johnny is on a road trip. It's going to be the search for Spock, but it's going to be the search for Miguel.
And they'll probably get into a few fights along the way, right?
Few fights along the way, so it's going to be buddy cop, Johnny and Robbie, and Miguel, and that way that can explain why Miguel's not in the season, because he's filming Blue Beetle.
He's eating too many burritos down there.
And it's going to be, Daniel versus Silver, because Kreese is off the table.
How did Kreese get off did he fake his own death again? How did that happen?
No, you find out that not only did Terry Silver turn, he turned on Kreese.
And so twist.
We had a return in the third to last episode. So like episode 7, you had a return of a fan favorite character that I don't think we've seen since season 2.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Since season 3, yeah. You're right.
So Stingray comes back, and he's got a whole episode that kind of just follows him for most of the episode. And I had forgotten that he was put on probation because he was of age. Like when all the fight went down at the high school.
5 years old. I mean,
Yeah. And so he actually got jail time and probation for the fight at the high school because he was a grown-ass adult. And he gets off probation, and he comes back, and he wants to join Cobra Kai, only to find out that Sensei Lawrence is gone and Miguel's gone, right? And at this point, Eli's even gone.
He is very confused, yeah.
So the only person there is Kreese, and Kreese is like, you were never Cobra Kai. You will never train here. Get the hell out. And so he leaves, and then just gets the courage to come back and try and talk Sensei Kreese into training him. But Kreese isn't there. It's Terry Silver. And this is where Terry Silver flips his lid. Huh. Terry Silver beats the shit out of him, and that's the way the episode goes off. And you don't see Stingray again for like another 2 episodes until the end of the finale. One of the epilogues is Stingray comes out of his coma. So Terry Silver beat him into a coma. Right. And he comes out of his coma, and he tells him that John Kreese is the one that attacked him. And then it flashes to Terry Silver said, "You can be Cobra Kai, but I need you to do this. You tell him that John Kreese did this to you." So you've got this scene at the end, the epilogue with Kreese and Terry Silver. They're sitting at Terry Silver's mansion, and the police pull up and arrest John Kreese.
Oh, wow.
So it's going to be weird if they only address like the Stingray beating and not the fact that he's faked his own death twice. Like, they're going to have to address some of this other stuff too in his legal battle.
Well, if they have a story where Kreese is in jail, and guess what? He may get into a few fights in jail, right? A few action scenes in jail. Yep. And then, there'll be a report that he got shivved or something like that. So somehow or another, Kreese will have faked his death in jail and escaped, and then he'll come back at the end of season 5.
Well, I will say, when Kreese was getting arrested and Terry Silver was doing his crazy madman rant,
his mustache twirl monologue,
he said, "Don't worry about Cobra Kai. I'll have a few friends that'll help me with it."
Right. Who are those?
We talked about him at the beginning of the episode. Mike Barnes.
Mike Barnes.
Guy from
the bad boy of karate.
The bad boy of karate he's going to make his Karate Kid appearance.
I mean,
there was
how many are they going to bring back here? Everybody?
I don't know. They alluded to it earlier in the season too, that because somebody said, "So wait, the sensei that you had that betrayed you and the sensei that tried to kill you are teaming up to fight you and the karate and your karate rival from 35 years ago. And like, is there anybody else I need to know about?"
Right.
And he goes, "No, I think that's it." No, well, maybe there's some more. like
some more.
That's Mike Barnes.
So
good stuff.
This is a beautiful show because you know what? Not only it goes back and pulls out these old characters. I mean, Terry Silver, what's his name? Ian Griffin. He hasn't acted since like 2009. I mean, and they pulled him out, brought him back to do this show.
Brought him back to life. Gave him a purpose.
Bringing all these characters back. I mean, they're. I think it's really, really good episodes. Really cool. And they're corny as hell.
It's horrible. I mean, it is bad TV.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
Bad, but
it's enjoyable.
It's fast paced, 30-minute episodes. It moves quick.
Yeah.
I cannot hardly watch an hour-long episode of anything anymore.
And he watched 6 hours of it in one day.
I know. Netflix, you tricked me again. Hey, speaking of, not to because I don't want to. I'm sure we have another hour to talk about this. Has anybody watched the Rock Ryan Reynolds movie on Netflix?
Red Notice.
Red Notice.
Yeah, I've watched it.
I watched like a half hour, and then it's like so generic, right? Okay, never mind.
Yeah, it's paint by numbers, and it's absurd. Like the dialogue is just absurd.
Yeah. But somehow that doesn't work. But this, just that little extra toss of nostalgia in there does it for Podman Ron.
The nostalgia, and then they don't even shy away from the campiness of it. They highlight it.
Yeah.
They're like, look how crazy this shit is. Yep. Like, you've got enough characters pointing out the absurdity of it all the time.
Right.
It justifies them continuing to do it.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, his wife is like the straight man through the whole thing. I mean, she's like, she'll just point it all out. Yeah, this is insane.
So I had a conversation with somebody earlier today, and we were talking about lots of nerd stuff. And he said, like, we kind of came to a consensus. He was trying to explain this, and like I finally realized what he was trying to say. The reason why we balk at some stuff and accept other things, you know, with these type TV shows, movies, or whatever, is your brain can accept crazy ass circumstances. Like, you know, it's a plot device. You can accept a plot device like the All Valley. How absurd is it that that part of California is so obsessed with karate, right? Like you could, but it's a plot device. It just is. In that universe, people are just hyped up on karate, right?
Right.
But the flip side is, if you have a but you're trying to put yourselves in the character's position, right? It's you have the whole idea of what's, if I was in that position, what would I do? Where people balk and push back is when the characters don't make decisions logically, right? It's when you take logic out of the equation and people act either out of character or don't apply like normal logic to their actions, that people get off the bus,
right?
And so it's character motivation is what loses you, not necessarily crazy ass plot devices.
Okay.
So I thought it was kind of an interesting, and I would like to, when we have these like Shang-Chi, right? Can we accept that there's a portal that leads to another dimension? Okay, we've seen that before, right? Can we accept that there might be a realm where there's dragons? Okay, we can kind of accept that, right? Can we accept like some of Shang-Chi's motivations? Then that's where you lose. That's where it starts to fall apart
for most people.
So it was kind of cool. It would be nice to see the next time we have one of these TV shows that's more polarizing, where we're not agreeing on what we like about it, if we put it through that lens.
All right.
So,
well, maybe Peacemaker will be that. That's the next big TV show coming up, and well, maybe lesser interest, but Righteous Gemstones. I'm excited about that coming up.
Righteous Gemstones.
Is that back? When's that premiering?
Sunday, I think. This upcoming Sunday.
Nice. Very cool.
This one or next, whatever. All right. Well, all good things about nothing but love for Cobra Kai. Other than, are they going to change the title of the show? Why should it be called Cobra Kai anymore? Right.
That's true. Now that it's Johnny Silver. Silver.
It should just be called the Fight for the All Valley.
Terry Silver. Yeah.
Not quite as catchy of a title, I guess. But.
Well, it would be nice if they came back and they started doing Cobra Kai and did the secondary title.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Cobra Kai. Right. Fight for the soul of the valley.
Right.
I never die.
Cobra Kai never die. Yeah.
Cobra Kai never die.
Hard.
I mean, so you got to get Mike Barnes in the next episode, in the next season, but sometime or another you gotta get Hillary Swank in this.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think they've said 6 seasons, right? And so out of the 4 seasons, we've only had 2 All Valleys, right? So it's like
we got one more in number 6.
I think we got 1 season of Where the Hell is Miguel? Johnny's on a road trip for most of it. Him and Robbie are patching things up. You've got some tension between Silver and Mike Barnes and Daniel and Chosen, right? It's still going on, and then season 6 is the the final All Valley where it's all settled down. Yeah, which honestly that kind of follows the movie pace too, right? Because it was the first movie was the All Valley, the second movie they were in Okinawa, and the third movie was the All Valley again, right? So you're that kind of on off seasons, but yeah, at the end of this season it'd be season 6, and that's it. I don't know that we're going to get Hillary.
Are they saying only 6 seasons?
They said that they wanted to get to season 6, and that's why we had the restock, right? That's why you had the restock, because you need, if Robbie's going off with Johnny, that's why you need Kenny there with Tori, so you have enough students that at Cobra Kai. Right? And then you've got Daniel, and then Anthony will start training. Right, so you got that kind of going on, because Eli looks like he's almost 30 at this point. So I guess you can graduate them out if you need to. But I got a feeling we're going to get 1 season where it's off, 1 season where it's the tournament, and that's it. I don't know that we're going to have time to fit Hillary Swank in, other than just a cameo, maybe.
I'd say she comes back with her own dojo and starts
I think she should
recruiting.
You have this whole thing that Mr. Miyagi used to be in the military. There should be something secretive about that. Who was Mr. Miyagi?
They need to bring in Will Smith's kid for a cameo from the next Karate or the new Karate Kid or whatever his Karate Kid movie was.
Well,
tie in that universe.
What was her name?
Swank?
Yeah, Julie. Her name was Julie. The next Karate Kid. I'm trying to figure out what where it left her off at.
I have to go back and rewatch that.
Because we know what happened to Allie, right? She was a neurosurgeon. So where's Hilary Swank? Did Hilary Swank have a job that would pull her back in? Does Chosen have a fatal heart attack, a la Apollo Creed? And then you got to bring in Hilary Swank to help train
motivate
for Miyagi.
Yeah, get Daniel back up and running. Yeah.
Or Miyagi, or Danielson has a heart attack
Yeah.
because she is the next Karate Kid.
Yeah, that would be good.
That's true.
That would be.
She's the next
job.
one.
All right, so lots of good stuff here. Nothing but love for the Cobra Kai folks. What else you want to talk about for the next 15 minutes?
I've never watched an episode of Cobra Kai that was not good.
Wow. All right, that's a PMR guarantee right there, friends.
Wow.
He gives this. I don't know what he's going to rate this TV show.
Well, yeah, we're going to give it now. We're going to go ahead and show our ratings.
No, it's 5 out of 5, of course. But
of course. There's nothing less than a 5 out of 5.
But still, season 3 was the best for me. I like season 3 the best. Then season 1. Then probably season 2. This has probably been my least favorite season.
Wow.
Still 5 out of 5.
Still 5 out of 5.
If I had to rank the seasons, that's how my ranking would go.
I think season 1 is easily the strongest season. You got to really drive home the point that Daniel was the bad guy of the first Karate Kid movie.
Right. Which you wish they would have held that. If they would have held that a little bit longer, that would have been pretty funny.
And I would agree with you because those first episodes were fantastic on season 1. I just missed the John Kreese in season 1, but also Daniel was such a smug little fucker in season 1.
Right.
Well, he was, just like he was in Karate Kid 1, the first movie.
No, not as bad as he was in, oh my God, when he's bringing out his own Ginsu knives to cut his sushi.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, and he gave Johnny a bonsai, and then
oh God. He was terrible. Oh.
You know what I wished had happened was, when Johnny was looking for a place for after Miyagi-Do and Eagle Fang broke up, and Johnny was looking for a place to train, it should have been in the bonsai tree.
The nursery.
You're exactly right. That would have been cool, actually.
Yeah, and they could even said something like he's doing it specifically to get back at Daniel. He's like, he broke the locks, and they're training out of the old bonsai tree factory.
That would have been funny, man.
So
they even made a joke about that, about the bonsai tree.
Oh yeah, about him spending his money on it.
He started a bonsai tree.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
yeah.
In the 80s, that was I thought to myself while I was watching that movie, what kind of fucker think that he could sell that many bonsai trees? Make a living off of
I want to see this guy's business plan.
and I'm the one that started a comic book shop.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Jesus Christ.
I recognize a dumb idea when I see it.
Exactly.
I certainly enjoy it as well, but you got to think anybody. So if Alex were here, he would have been asleep by now. But someone who goes in blind on this and is just looking and doesn't have the movies as a background or anything like that, would they be like, "Well, this is the stupidest fucking show ever. This is just retarded," if I can use the R word. So is it just that little dash of nostalgia that turns it from completely stupid to acceptable stupid?
Well, I think this wouldn't have survived except for in the era of streaming.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like this, you couldn't have made this show even 15 years ago, 10 years ago, and it stayed on the air. Right. But the films are readily available on multiple platforms.
Right.
You can watch these films anytime you want to. So, I think if you watch it and you're like, well, what the hell is this? I kind of remember Karate Kid when I go back and watch it, and then you're like, oh, wait, Like, look how bizarre this shit was in the 80s. Yeah. It isn't that much of a departure from what we saw in the 80s in those three films, you know? Right. So.
It's really cool that the creators of this show and who keeps making it has gone to the lengths that they have to pull all these old movies and all this old cast, pull this cast together, string new characters mixed in with the old characters, and make this narrative. And like y'all said in the beginning, make it into a male soap opera. You know, I mean, I cannot think of any show, movie that has done what this show has done. I can't think of anybody who's gone back so far. I mean, you could say maybe Star Trek, but even then, not to this extent. I mean, so not when you're looking back at old TV shows and revamping them and bringing it back with the old characters, same characters, those characters, and doing it the way they did it. So. No, I think it's something that hasn't been done, and I don't think anybody will be able to do it like this again.
Never again. All right. Well, I'm sure somebody will take you up on that challenge. We need to figure out what that next teenage action 80s movies. What's that?
What is that?
The A-Team. Bring back the A-Team.
Yeah, they tried that. Once, but
they did a movie. But you bring it back as a television show. Well, any of those Stephen J. Cannell shows, Riptide, the A-Team,
right?
Any of those you could.
But I think with this though, you have the actors though. With the A-Team or Riptide, you wouldn't necessarily have the same actors.
Well, you've got everybody, but George Papard is still alive. You still got T. Right?
Yeah, but I mean, that's like having. They're going to be so old, they'll be like detectives in an old folks' home or something stupid like that.
How old is Creed?
I was setting you up on that one, Brian. Detectives in an old folks' home? What a dumb idea that is.
Detectives in an old folks' home.
Yeah.
That is, they're solving mysteries.
Yeah, it's stupid. Yeah.
I see like two, maybe like a William Shatner.
And the late Adam West, yeah.
And the late Adam West. Maybe we get Burt Ward.
That's gold.
Wow, there you go. That's gold. But anyway, I ain't a bad idea. What's he doing now? But anyway, that's my thoughts on Cobra Kai.
All right, very good. Podman Ron, in the last few moments here, as we've spent a full hour talking about Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai.
Oh, Jesus. Who could have predicted that? You've said you had a little touch of the COVID and you caught up on some other. Just give us a rundown of TVs or movies that you've been watching here.
Well, what I was watching, Search Party.
Search Party.
PBS. God, I'm sorry, I'm kind of drew a blank there for a second.
That's okay. We know you're hopped up on NyQuil. So you're talking about Search Party that was a TBS original and now moved over to HBO Max?
And you know what? It was pretty good, actually. I enjoyed it. And one of the reasons I enjoyed it, they were only 30-minute episodes.
Okay.
It starred the chick
Maybe?
from Arrested Development, and I don't know, and it was good. I enjoyed it. I would recommend this show.
Wow, okay.
It's a fast watch.
Fast watch. I watched, I think, the first 2 seasons of it. I didn't think that would be up your alley, so I'm happy to hear that.
I actually liked it, and I found out that I thought it was over with, but apparently a 5th season's coming out.
Sometime.
A few weeks. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. So it's the 5th season being the last season. If you're
he is going in and out. What other TV shows or movies have you been watching?
I can't hear you without your.
Well, then I watched I started back on Doom Patrol, which is.
Oh, okay.
I'm freaking loving it.
Oh, wow.
That's great. Yeah, season 2. It's bizarre. I don't even know how to classify this show. It's all over the place, but I love it. It's great. It's almost like it's set in today.
Yeah.
it's almost like the science is from the 60s and everything is from the 60s.
They don't bother explaining much of it either.
They don't bother with that, yeah.
You know?
Like this episode I just watched today was they went into space and no one's wearing a helmet. You know, they're just blasting into space on this rocket. And it's bizarre, it's bonkers, but little girl's walking apparently on the moon, I guess. No, not floating, nothing, just walking on the moon. But it's bizarre, but it's really good. Stories are really clever. They're out there. I mean, they're fucking.
They can be hard to follow. You just accept it, though, right?
Well, I mean, it's only for people who've really into science fiction or really into bizarre comics.
Okay.
I mean, if you're not into either one of those, then
skip it.
Definitely not. Yeah.
All right. So what else you got?
Robot Man sounds like Bob Einstein. So.
I watched the Bob Einstein documentary on HBO Max.
I watched the same thing.
It was okay.
Yeah, it was okay. Well, I don't know. It was pretty funny. I didn't realize how much of a career he had and how funny he really was and what made him so fucking hilarious.
He will be missed.
Oh, if Curb hasn't been the same without him. but Robot Brendan Fraser in the Robot Man costume sounds just like him.
I guess so. Maybe I can see that.
But Brendan Fraser in this show is fantastic. He is just Robot Man is hilarious.
All right, what else you got?
Brian, did you watch Doom Patrol any?
I'm current on Doom Patrol. I watched all of it.
It's a good show. You like it or not?
Oh yeah, I love Doom Patrol. I've said that for a long time. How good it is.
I missed some. I watched season 1. I loved it, and just kind of dropped off. Just didn't want to pick it back up, but I was kind of forced to.
Season 2 is really strong. Season 3, season 1's still my favorite because you had was it Mr. Nowhere?
Mr. Nobody.
Nobody, that's what it is.
You love your
Nobody
Alan
there.
Tudyk or whatever. Tudyk.
Yeah, I love Alan Tudyk. But he was because it was cool because he was the narrator of the season as well. You know. So, but yeah, I enjoy season 1 better than season 3 is probably the weakest of the 3. So
that gives me something to look forward to.
Sorry.
But the other thing, watching, I was going to tell you. So it started before I started Doom Patrol. I started watching Amazing Spider-Man 2 with Andrew Garfield.
You're jumping on that Andrew Garfield bandwagon.
I was, because I was like, okay, maybe
they can't be that bad.
Let me watch this movie again, and it was pretty goddamn awful.
Wow.
I mean, I don't really. Wow, it was all over the place. It was the most bizarre thing I ever. I got through like an hour of it, and I just had to turn it off. It was just.
Well,
you got off that bandwagon quickly.
Let me make a Podman editor's note from our Spider-Man Far From No Way Home episode, right?
Yeah.
My one of my sons brought this to my attention because they watched Amazing Spider-Man 2 as well. And so while we did not explain why Tom Hardy's Venom would have shown up, according to Doctor Strange's rules that
right.
He didn't know it was people that knew who Peter was. Joshua pointed out to me that even though Andrew Garfield doesn't take his mask off, there's a scene where Gwen Stacy runs up to Spider-Man and says, "Peter," and Electro's there to hear it. So he would know that Spider-Man's name is Peter, but that's also why he wouldn't know that Spider-Man was, he was hoping Spider-Man was a black kid.
Oh, okay.
So,
sure.
Good catch for one of the Pod Minis.
Yeah, definitely.
Pod Mini, definitely. Did he watch the whole movie? Because I couldn't get through the turd.
Yeah, him and Jonah did. They both watched it, but yeah, I was like, that's a good catch, a good call.
It is a good catch, man. You should have.
Doubtful the filmmakers were thinking about that.
I'm sure
that was probably just happenstance.
It was happenstance, I'm sure.
Listening to this, they could use it.
Yeah,
they can say, oh, well, by the way, our eagle-eyed viewer Joshua noticed this.
Excelsior.
So,
Yeah, so I was kind of, I don't know. Even Andrew Garfield's performances, I was just kind of thrown a little bit. It wasn't really wasn't that good. So, Alex loves Andrew Garfield. He loves that.
Mm-hmm.
But his performance, everything, it was just kind of off, and the story was just so bonkers. It was all out there. It was everywhere. So, yeah. Although I predicted earlier that, Andrew Garfield will be tacked on as a new Spider-Man movie, in possibly a way they can introduce Miles Morales in the Sony universe, is have Andrew Garfield get killed.
Or Toby.
Russell. Or Toby.
Toby's saving Toby for
do a live-action version of the Spider-Verse movie.
I think they're saving Toby for Spider-Girl.
All right.
So, but if you think about it, if you do Andrew Garfield Spider-Man 3 movie, you kill him off like they did in Ultimate Spider-Man. He dies. Miles Morales takes over for Spider-Man 4 for Sony. So then they've got the Miles Morales Spider-Man, and we got the regular Spider-Man, the OG Spider-Man. So in the MCU. So everybody.
If Tom Holland comes back, right?
Oh, Tom Holland. All right, man, they're going to back up the money truck to his place after he's cleared over $1 billion.
After that Oscar-winning performance.
It's the highest-grossing Sony movie ever made.
Yeah, in not even a month. I mean, it's not even been out a month, and it's made that much. So, yeah, he's playing it cool. He knows what he's doing.
Brad, I've also been checking something out.
Yes.
That I could make a recommendation for. Right. So I've been on a Seinfeld kick. Ooh, and Netflix has got 3 different comedy specials for Jerry. I watched all 3 of them.
All right.
So so they're pretty interesting because some of them are almost like documentary-esque.
Yeah.
Right? But you've got Jerry Seinfeld, I'm telling you this for the last time,
right?
Which was the comedy special he did right after, or like a year or so after Seinfeld ended. And it's interesting. It starts off, and you see it's a funeral, and George Carlin's there, and Gary Shandling's there. All these comedians are there. I think George Wallace is there. They're all there at this funeral, and Jerry's like burying his old material. Right, and then somebody's like, "Oh, that's good. Oh, can I have this joke?" That kind of thing. They're trying to steal his jokes, and so it's a stand-up set, but it's all the jokes that were the bumpers on the Seinfeld TV show.
That's pretty funny.
So he's going through the material that were the bumpers on the show, and so it kind of expands on the jokes and kind of like what the bits were. So it's pretty cool. And I was like, that was great. So then I watched 23 Hours to Kill, which is the newest one. I think it came out like 2018, maybe 2019. But it's all new material. Yeah. And that's what he toured around with a couple years back. And then probably the one I liked best of the 3 was Jerry Before Seinfeld. Have you seen this one?
I haven't seen. That's the one I haven't seen.
He goes back to the Comedy Store in New York and does several sets, but it's also talking about like how he became a comedian and the stuff he did, and he goes back to where he used to work when he was out of college, when he would do stand up at night, and where he'd get his lunch and where he'd get the deli he'd go to, and so it's almost like Comics in Cars, right?
Yeah,
but it's all about him and kind of like his method and what he did to break in. And it really kind of focuses on the first 5 years before he got that gig on The Tonight Show, before he appeared on The Tonight Show the first time. And so he kind of goes through some of his old jokes and some of his old material. And, this bombed, and this was my first real joke that got a really good laugh. But yeah, it's almost like half comedy special, and it's got audio and stuff from his his early stuff, and then he's redoing some of the material now. But then he also kind of talks about the Comedy Store and stuff that funny anecdotes about the Comedy Store and that sort of thing. So, but yeah, it's almost half comedy special, half documentary. Really good.
Check that one out. All right.
We can't hear you, Peter.
I was on a Seinfeld kick about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So,
did you watch either of those specials or any of those three specials?
I haven't watched those. I haven't watched any of the specials. I saw him in concert one time. He was pretty good.
Oh, there you go. You saw him out and about.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Well, and the kids were able to watch it because it's Seinfeld. There's nothing,
I don't know. Every time we turn on a Seinfeld or something like that, then it's the Sponge episode or something, whatever. And it's like, God damn it. So yeah, again,
competition.
You forget master of your own domain. You forget, sometimes that it's like, oh yeah, this is a story about 4 single people who have a new date every episode for the most
I was going to say they fuck around.
They fuck around constantly, so it's
But none of that's in Jerry's material. Like that's none of that's in his stand-up.
No, he doesn't go.
What's the deal about chlamydia?
What's the deal with chlamydia?
All right. Well, any other last words here? We're almost at time.
No,
I think what are we going to be reviewing next time? What's coming out this month? I feel like there's a movie coming out this month. But
it was going to be. Well,
it was supposed to be Mobius.
Yeah.
Oh, Morbius,
Mobius, whatever his name is.
Morbius.
I haven't watched the new Matrix movie.
I was going to say, anybody watch the Matrix movie?
No. I sat down with the kids. We watched Matrix 1. We're trying to cycle back through before it leaves HBO Max. So
we watched the first Matrix together, and it was enjoyable. I thought it was good. It kind of I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of remember this movie now. I don't really remember anything from it. And then the second movie, we started watching that, and then 10 minutes into it's a big sex scene that's like 10 minutes long. It's like, God damn it! Yeah. So have to fast forward through the rave/sex scene, and we got through that. They got to learn. Might as well learn Matrix sex. Yeah.
The way we did watching TV.
That's true. But we stopped there. We didn't watch.
I think I saw a nipple.
What was that? Yeah, it's horrible. What's sad is that when we leave my kids at home alone at night, and my wife will go and I will go off and stuff like that. And they could be doing anything. They could be watching anything, going on the internet, looking at everything. And then we come back and they're like, "Yeah, we've been watching The Middle or Parks and Rec for 3 hours or whatever." Yeah. It's like, you stupid little innocent kids.
The browser history.
I do check the browser history, but yeah.
And he's more disappointed in what he doesn't find.
I know, exactly. It's like, you've been looking up Godzilla stats for the past 2 hours? I mean, come on, people.
Have you not seen Pornhub?
I know. Can I introduce you to a little bit of this stuff?
Yeah, leave the browser on.
Right, encourage it a little bit, yeah. I don't want to have a talk with you. You might as well this is pretty much reality. This is it. This is what boys and girls do together. That's fine. Girls like this kind of stuff.
They love it.
All right, Alex. I'm sure would love to participate in this conversation, but we do have Peacemaker and Righteous Gemstones. If we talk about that,
yeah, Peacemaker, Righteous Gemstones. I want to go try and see Kingsman. Me and PMR had talked about doing it before he got the Rona. And Matrix. So maybe we'll have some stuff to
something to chat about.
Cover.
What so when is you said Righteous Gemstone this Sunday? When is Peacemaker coming on? It's like the 19th?
The 13th.
Yeah, they're both right around the same time, I think, something like that.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seemed like Always Sunny was only 8 episodes this season, they were kind of disappointing episodes towards the end, so which we didn't really talk about, but
well, let's not start now.
Yeah, I feel like if you're wanting to watch to get your sunny vibe, go watch Mythic Quest.
Ugh.
Yeah, I watched the first episode of that, and I actually liked it. So I forgot all about it, to be honest with you. I need to revisit that and watch that again, because
don't know, the last Beer Monkey was my favorite episode. Fucking so funny. But like after that episode, I swear to God, those 4 episodes when they were in Ireland,
did it also seem like Danny DeVito wasn't around much this season?
Yeah, he really. Well, it's probably because it's Corona.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just not good. I mean, just dumb. And I don't know. And I was telling someone, I think what I missed all the side characters. I miss, Rickety
Crickets.
Yeah.
Well, Rickety Crickets is on Mythic Quest.
Yeah, I miss the McBoyle brothers.
Big Boils, yeah. They're busy.
Yeah, I miss all these side characters. That's what made that show.
What was Dee's acting partner? She was in an episode this season.
Who was?
Dee's acting partner. What's her name?
Oh, Artemis.
Artemis, yeah. She was there for us that episode.
I mean, no one's in this show anymore, and it's just kind of like, I mean, they had some really strong episodes. I like the Lethal Weapon
5.
Really good, and I like the like I said, the Beer Monkey one was really good. Didn't really care for the flashback episode, but it was kind of dumb. So yeah, all my great shows have just kind of petered out. Curb, Always Sunny.
I like this episode, Brad.
Yeah, I was about to say, all good things must come to an end, just like this episode.
Now,
he gave us one last rant for the road. One
Thank
last
you.
ramble.
Thank you. Now he can lay his head down, his sleepy little head down, and just fall asleep in the nerdatorium.
Go to sleep.
All right. Well, you take a nap, and until next time,
Save it for the podcast.